The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. It is a pillar of our democracy and individual liberty, allowing us to freely express our ideas, follow or renounce any religious belief, disseminate information, peacefully assemble, and petition the government for change without fear of reprisal. The Second Amendment ensures the right of citizens to own and bear arms. This is a key element of our liberty and security, allowing people to defend themselves, their families, and their property, and to uphold the principle of self-defense and the collective security of a free state. The Third Amendment prohibits the military from forcibly housing citizens in their homes during peacetime without the consent of the owners. This right affirms the principles of privacy and the protection of private property. The Fourth Amendment protects citizens from unlawful searches and seizures by requiring a court-issued warrant based on the likelihood that a crime has been committed. This protects privacy rights and fair process. The Fifth Amendment establishes several fair trial guarantees, including the right against self-incrimination, double jeopardy, the right to just restitution, and the right to a fair hearing on charges. This ensures that the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens are protected before the law. The Sixth Amendment establishes the right to a fair trial for all criminal defendants. It guarantees the right to a speedy and public trial before a neutral jury, as well as the right to have counsel present and witnesses confronted. The Seventh Amendment guarantees the right to a trial by jury in civil cases. This protects citizens from arbitrary deprivation of property and emphasizes the principle of a fair trial. The Eighth Amendment guarantees citizens protection against excessive or unusual punishment, and prohibits the use of. This emphasizes the principle of fairness and humanity in the legal system, protecting the fundamental rights and dignity of every citizen. The Ninth Amendment establishes that the list of citizens' rights enshrined in the Constitution does not exhaust all the rights that belong to people. This means that citizens retain additional rights not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution. The Tenth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution affirms the principles of federalism and limited government by stating that all rights not granted to the federal government or prohibited by the Constitution belong to the states or the people. This emphasizes the principles of limited government and the protection of the rights and powers of the states and citizens. The 11th Amendment establishes the principle of state sovereignty by affirming that the states have certain rights and legal authority within the limits of their competence not limited by federal law. This fundamental provision is an important element of the separation of powers between the federal government and the states, protecting their autonomy and independence. The 12th Amendment defines the process of electing the president and vice president through a collegial voting method in the Electoral College. This balances the power of the federal government with the rights of the individual states in the electoral system process. The 13th Amendment abolishes slavery and forced labor, except as punishment for crime, marking a turning point in American society, formally ending the legal institution of slavery and reflecting the nation's commitment to individual freedom and human rights. The 14th Amendment grants citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States and guarantees equality before the law for all citizens. It prohibits any state action that has the effect of violating the fundamental rights of citizens, including the right to life, liberty, and fair process. The 15th Amendment guarantees the right of citizens to participate equally in elections regardless of race or color. This amendment is key to the fight for civil rights and prevents discrimination based on race in voting. The 16th Amendment created a federal income tax. It gave Congress the power to tax the income of individuals and organizations without apportionment among the states. The 17th Amendment establishes direct election of U.S. senators by state voters, strengthening democratic governance, making senators more accountable to the electorate, and reflecting a movement toward greater democracy and public participation in government. The 18th Amendment enacted alcohol prohibition. This means that the U.S. government cannot restrict or prohibit the production, sale, or consumption of alcohol except in accordance with state laws. The 19th Amendment established equal voting rights regardless of gender. This had the effect of guaranteeing women the right to vote and was an important step toward a fair and just society. The 20th Amendment establishes a procedure for changing the start date of the terms of the President, Vice President, and members of Congress in the event that an election fails to determine a winner. This amendment ensures a smooth transition of power and stability in government in the event of disputes or uncertainty as a result of an election. The 21st Amendment repealed alcohol prohibition, which was established by the 18th Amendment. This returned the right to the states to regulate the sale and consumption of alcohol. The 22nd Amendment placed a limit on the number of terms a president could serve. Under this amendment, a president could only be elected for 2 terms. This was passed in 1951 in response to the 4th term of Franklin D. Roosevelt to prevent one person from holding power for long periods of time and to emphasize the principle of succession. The 23rd Amendment grants residents of Washington, D.C., the right to vote in presidential elections, eliminating the lack of representation for district residents and moving toward greater democratic participation. The 24th Amendment prohibits taxes on voting in federal elections, eliminating the barrier to voting for low-income individuals and advancing civil rights by ensuring that the right to vote cannot be a condition of economic status. The 25th Amendment clarifies presidential succession and procedure in cases of presidential incapacity, ensuring continuity and stability of the executive branch by providing clear guidelines for the transfer of power in cases of incapacity. The 26th Amendment lowers the voting age from 21 to 18, recognizing the maturity and responsibilities of citizenship in young people, especially given their service in the military, thereby expanding their opportunities for democratic participation. The 27th Amendment ensures that any changes to the salaries of members of the U.S. Congress will not take effect until after the next election has taken place. This means that congressmen cannot immediately increase their salary and benefit from it in their current term.